Hello, my name is Sydney Baruch. I am a 21-year-old student in the School of Education at the University of Kansas. I had the pleasure of working on a case study with Ashlyn. Ashlyn is a 5th grade student at Woodlawn Elementary. She is a part of Miss Vilchek's and Mr. Daly's class. Ashlyn plays volleyball after school. She also shares her love for animals and motorcycles. Ashlyn smiles and laughs a lot. She contributes and expresses her thoughts. I have documented Ashlyn's literacy skills throughout my case study. I would like to share with you my findings. The purpose of this case study was to utilize principles and methods associated with facilitating language and literacy development for intermediate elementary students. I went to Woodlawn 9 times to student teach. Due to absences and other factors, Ashlyn was able to work with me for 5 of the 9 days. During my time with Ashlyn, I was able to spend English language arts implementing lessons and assessments with her. I also spent time with Ashlyn working on in-class activities, including a program called Seesaw. Seesaw is a program that allows students to practice their vocabulary with multiple strategies. To assess Ashlyn, I use the Bader Reading and Language Inventory. The Bader Reading and Language Inventory is a collection of qualitative and quantitative assessments that guide the information gathering and subsequent analysis of a variety of language and literacy dimensions. The design and use of this inventory allows K through 12 educators and literacy specialists to determine each learner's passages, with Ashlyn to document her instructional literacy level and subsequent skills in concept building lessons. As such, this Bader Reading and Language Inventory was used not as a screener, but rather for placement and progress purposes. Word recognition in isolation, the ability to automatically recognize words or decode them without the context of a sentence or paragraph, was assessed using the graded word lists. These lists of 10 words are organized by complexity and grouped into grade level equivalences. The range of these graded words span from pre-kindergarten through 8th grade. Each of these grade level equivalences are described by a numeric level and is also represented by a letter. For example, 2.0/D refers to the 2nd grade level. The letters used in this description of the Bader are not the same scale as those used with the Fountas and Pinnell guided reading levels. Ashlyn was asked to read through each list of 10 words until she either missed 4 of the 10 words or asked to stop reading. This is the documentation of Ashlyn's graded word lists. Ashlyn completed the first 6 lists without any mistakes. By the 6.0/H section, which refers to the 6th grade level, she began to mispronounce words, but she was able to get through every list with less than 4 misread words until the last list. The last list was at the high school level. Word recognition and context fluency and comprehension skills were assessed using the graded reader's passages. Using these passages for teaching and learning determines the learner's independent and instructional reading levels. A learner's independent level is just what is implied, that he or she can decode, read, and understand almost 100% of the context without support from another person or resource. A learner's instructional level is that where he or she can decode, read and understand 80 to 90% of the text and content and depends on another person or resource to attain 100% accuracy in word recognition, fluency, and comprehension. Ashlyn's first passage for use in this assessment was determined through her progress on the graded word lists and any information about her preferences of topics or types of text. Ashlyn's independent reading level is 5.0. Ashlyn read a 5th grade level passage called A Famous Automobile. She read the passage with just one mistake. Then she was asked to retell details from the story. Ashlyn missed a few of the key details, but she was able to retell a substantial amount of information about the story. She was then asked to answer comprehension questions. She answered all but one question correctly. Finally, she was asked an interpretive question that she answered correctly. Ashlyn was able to complete almost 100% of this 5th grade level content on her own. Therefore, this is her independent reading level. Ashlyn's instructional level is 6.0, meaning she needs instruction on 6th grade content. Ashlyn read a 6th grade level passage called Daredevil Rescue, Who Should Pay? Ashlyn read the passage with 10 mistakes. The mistakes made were often subtle. For example, she said dangers instead of dangerous multiple times. Then, Ashlyn was asked to answer comprehension questions. She answered 2 out of 8 questions. Because of her inability to answer most of the comprehension questions, she requires further instruction in 6th grade content. The graded word lists and readers' passages documented show that Ashlyn has strength in word recognition. Her strengths include beginning and ending consonants, short vowels, letter combinations, and sight vocabulary. Ashlyn would benefit from instruction on comprehension skills, including understanding major concepts, self-monitoring, and recalling with or without prompts. I conducted several lessons with Ashlyn. I differentiated the instruction for each lesson so that Ashlyn was able to learn in multiple ways. Ashlyn not only worked one-on-one with me, but also worked with another student in the class on most of the activities. The lessons I conducted were often focused on weekly vocabulary. Other topics included cause and effect, graphic sources, and author's purpose. This is a written sample of Ashlyn's work on a vocabulary lesson. Ashlyn was asked to utilize the weekly vocabulary into her own story. Then she made a drawing to go along with it. I created this lesson to encourage Ashlyn's creativity and share her interests with me while still practicing using new vocabulary and incorporating the vocabulary in a way that is relevant to her. Ashlyn shows accuracy in creating appropriate sentence structure. Throughout her story, she showed strength in written coherence as well as sequencing. She also utilized the vocabulary effectively. Ashlyn would benefit from practicing writing on the lines straight across. There were also a few misspellings, therefore Ashlyn would benefit from proofreading. To summarize Ashlyn's recommendations for instruction, there are 2 key factors that Ashlyn can benefit from focusing on: engagement and comprehension. Ashlyn contributes and focuses more when lessons involve her interests. Therefore, this is one strategy Ashlyn can benefit from. Promoting Ashlyn's creativity is another way to engage her. One way to do this is by asking Ashlyn to create her own story. Differentiated instruction will also be beneficial for Ashlyn. Creating games or the use of technology will engage her. Comprehension is important for Ashlyn to practice. Ashlyn will benefit from activating background knowledge prior to reading a story. Establishing a purpose for reading the story will also help. Ashlyn will benefit from comprehension check questions throughout a passage, as well as summarizing key events. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my findings from my case study with Ashlyn.